Let me tell you something most men aren't ready to hear. Women don't just change. Men change them. Every cold wife, every checked-out girlfriend, every woman who became different. She didn't just wake up one morning and decide to be distant. She became that way because of the relationship she was in. And that's the part men can't stand, because it forces them to confront a truth they've spent their entire lives avoiding. Here's the reality. Men often don't understand emotional labor, because the world has trained them to never even notice it. And before someone rushes to the comments to type switch the genders, just sit down for a second. This isn't about hating men. It's about telling the truth that most men avoid until their marriage or relationship collapses right under their feet. Let's start with why this goes so deep for women. When the author Abby Eckel said men want the woman they married, but they never take responsibility for the woman they made her become, women felt that in their bones, because that is their lived experience. It's not a theory. It's not a complaint. It's a pattern. Most men hear that quote and immediately get defensive. Most women hear that quote and feel validated. Why is there such a huge difference in reaction? It's because women live with the constant, invisible pressure of the mental load. This is the endless, exhausting responsibility of being the emotional glue, the social planner, the conflict diffuser, the memory keeper. It's the job of the person who always anticipates, repairs, reminds, organizes, softens, holds, and absorbs everything for the family. Sociologists like Hochschild and Daminger mapped this out decades ago. They found that in many relationships, women are essentially working two jobs: the visible physical labor and the invisible emotional labor. This emotional labor is the stuff men often don't see, but absolutely depend on to keep the relationship running smoothly. Think about it. Men will often say, "Just tell me what to do." To them, this sounds helpful, like they're offering to pitch in. But what women hear is, "I still want you to manage everything." They don't realize that even asking for instructions is outsourcing the mental load. The woman still has to do the thinking, the planning, the delegating. The request itself becomes another item on her endless to-do list. And here's the part that really stings, the part that truly explains the divide. Women try to fix the relationship. Men try to avoid the discomfort. Renowned researcher Gottman's work shows this perfectly. During a conflict, women are more likely to make repair attempts, to try and de-escalate the tension and reconnect. Men, on the other hand, are far more likely to stonewall, to shut down and withdraw. This isn't because men are evil or malicious. It's because society has trained them to avoid emotional responsibility, while women have been trained to carry it for everyone. So what happens over time? Women bend. Women adjust. Women internalize the blame, thinking, if I were just better, calmer, or more patient, this wouldn't be a problem. They change themselves for the relationship. They adapt and contort to keep the peace. Men, however, often don't feel the need to change until the relationship is already burning to the ground. That's why the divorced out of nowhere phenomenon exists. It's almost exclusively men who claim this happened to them. Why? Because while he thought everything was fine, she has been begging, crying, explaining, carrying the weight, and compensating for years. Her leaving wasn't sudden. His awareness was. And then, after all that, men wonder, why is she so angry now? She's angry because anger is what happens when the pain finally stops being polite. It's the final stage of exhaustion after years of shouldering the emotional burden alone. Let's talk about something as simple as the sandwich test. It's a tiny example, but it reveals everything. If a woman is making a sandwich for her partner, she probably knows exactly what he likes and what he hates. She knows how he likes the ingredients layered. She knows what time of day he'll be hungry. She might even factor in whether he's had a stressful day and needs a little comfort food. She has a mental map of his needs. Now flip it. If he makes a sandwich for her, what usually happens? He asks 20 questions. What kind of bread? Toasted. What do you want on it? Mayo or mustard? How much? He doesn't have that same mental map. She knows him. He knows she'll handle it. That, right there, is the imbalance. That's the emotional labor gap in action. This isn't a small thing. It's a reflection of a much larger dynamic. Women adjust to men's needs almost automatically, proactively. Men tend to react only when something is explicitly wrong, or when they're asked directly. Women feel responsible for the emotional temperature of the relationship. Men often feel entitled to the comfort it provides, without understanding the work that goes into maintaining it. And let's be clear, this isn't because men are monsters. It's because the entire system trains us this way from a young age. Girls learn, keep the peace, be accommodating, or you'll be seen as difficult. Boys learn, your comfort and your needs matter more than her exhaustion. Women are taught, take responsibility for the relationship. Men are taught, take responsibility for yourself. And that, right there, is why the response, just swap the genders, is so lazy and dismissive. You can't just swap the genders when the genders are not treated the same by society, by expectations, by conditioning, or by the relationship itself. The playing field isn't level. When a woman finally changes or leaves, it's usually because she has hit her breaking point after carrying too much for too long. When a man gets angry in that situation, it's often because he lost the comfort and stability he was used to, the very comfort she worked so hard to provide. In a way, women react to the pain they've been enduring. Men react to losing the privilege they didn't even know they had. That's the core difference. So no, this isn't man-hating, this is a mirror. Some people aren't ready to see their reflection. But the truth is simple. If more men understood and shared the burden of emotional labor, fewer women would emotionally collapse. Fewer relationships would rot from the inside out from silent neglect. And fewer divorces would feel like a complete surprise to one person. Because love isn't destroyed by one big, dramatic event. It's destroyed by 1,000 tiny responsibilities she carried alone, while he insisted everything was fine. If this hits you, don't just scroll away. Reflect on it. Share it. Talk about it with your partner, your friends. And if you want more raw, unfiltered truth about relationships, psychology, and emotional responsibility, hit that subscribe button. The next video might just save your relationship.